Hello from Ahmedabad, India. I j- just went to lunch and I was listening to this album by U2 called How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. It's from 2005, and the song that really drew me to it this time was City of Blinding Lights. When I was in high school, there was a huge drama crew and drama department. Made really nice productions, and I remember they'd play that song. I'm talking like 2009 or so. The song came out in '05, and I just heard it quite a bit because I used to go there to get some volunteer hours, which was necessary for my IB program, International Baccalaureate. It wasn't out of the goodness of my heart. It was just a necessity I had to do. But I learned something in the process, which I suppose is part of the point. Anyway, I went on a nice trip in New York with my mom in 2011. We went around Manhattan. The U.S. Open was on, the tennis tournament, and we went to go see Roger Federer, hopefully. And on the first, the first day we went, my first time ever going to a pro tournament, we got to see him, and that was cool. And around that time, we walked around Manhattan. The U.S. Open is in Queens, and we walked around Manhattan. She used to live in Manhattan, I don't know, in the 70s, right? And she showed me where she would sit, like the staircase where she would sit. She showed me all sorts of places, her old haunts, she called them. And I remember taking photos of her, and she was wearing all white, and it was nighttime, and the bright lights of New York were shining on her. And so whenever I think of the song City of Blinding Lights, it reminds me of her and that particular moment. So anyway, I listened to the whole album, right? And the point that I've derived from this is that a lot of musical artists, and U2 is one of the really great rock bands of our time, all time. Perhaps, I guess rock has only been around for less than 100 years, right? So really, one of the great rock bands of the history of all time. And U2, Bono has a Christian bent to him. He's the lead singer and writer, and basically the main creative force, at least with respect to the real direction of the music, I suppose. The Beatles had Eastern spirituality within their music, and even when they're popular in '64, '65, before they were really into this Eastern stuff, they had a bent to them that later turned into that, right? So it's the same sort of essence, right? They had the predisposition to become spiritual. Zeppelin, Jimmy Page, he was into Eastern and Western mysticism, and he made some of the most incredible sounds on guitar that I've ever heard. And it's on the merit of that, combined with everything else, but that especially, that's made Zeppelin such a lasting force. It's the second best-selling band of all time. They put on a show at the White House, meaning that the White House put on a show for the three remaining members of Zeppelin, Jimmy Page included, in 2012. And you have 50 musicians coming and performing these Zeppelin songs. And Jack Black introduces the whole thing. He says, Led Zeppelin, best band ever, better than the Beatles, better than the Stones, best band ever, right? And that's his opinion, right? But there's a truth in what he's saying, because they were so good, right? Even Elvis, he had a Christian bent to him as he moved along in his career in the 60s and 70s. And in the 50s, he wasn't exactly operating from that lens, but nonetheless, he had the predisposition to become that way. And so even Nirvana, the band from the 90s, one of the biggest bands of all time, and they were only around for less than 3 years in the mainstream before the lead singer killed himself. But Nirvana, that's the very goal of Eastern spirituality. It's moksha, it's nirvana, it's the final liberation. Even the name is in the name. And so I bring this up to say that the people who end up developing a lot of power through the creation of incredible works, especially incredible works of art, are very often those who have something from the spirit, from the ether, working through them. George Lucas said, the creator of Star Wars, that he, what do you say? With the Force, right? He was wondering, about religions. He says to his mom when he's 10, if there's so many religions, if there's only one God, why are there so many religions? And he came to the conclusion that each religion is equally true, and that each religion is taking a different bite out of the elephant, right? And the Force, as far as he's concerned, is his way of like just speaking to the one true Force, so to say, of which all other things look up to, from which all other things derive, right? And it is the Force that made Star Wars special. Even in this magazine, I'm reading about Star Wars. The Force is the thing that made it something so enduring, and of course it is, right? The Force, as Yoda says to Luke in the second film, right? The Force is all around you, its energy surrounds us and binds us, right? Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you, between you, me, the land, the tree, yes, even between the land and the ship. And this is when Luke's ship famously falls into the water, and he'd be stuck on this world forever. He can't get his ship out. He says, Master, moving rocks around is one thing, but this is totally different. It's no different. Only different in your mind. Then Luke tries, and actually, maybe it moves a little bit. I don't even know. But he just gives up. Says, I can't. It's too big. Yoda says, size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size? Do you? Yes. And well, you should not. For my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you. Here, between you, me, the rock, the tree. Yes, even between the land and the ship. And Luke says, all right, give it a try. He says, no, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. And Luke tries again, and again gives up. And then he just barks at Yoda. You want the impossible. And he just sits down despondently, defeatedly. And then Yoda goes and just focuses. And the music becomes very majestic almost. Not quite yet majestic, but it's getting more positive. And the ship comes up. And finally descends onto the ground, onto the land. And that's when the music is majestic. Ba, 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 ba. And that was all. And Luke goes and presses the three of the four, corners of the perimeter of the ship, just to test it, just to feel it, just to confirm it. And he goes to, I don't believe it. He still can't believe it. Yoda says, that is why you fail. And then immediately, in filmmaking genius, only as the real Force could create, right? The real larger Force that contains and binds everything. Only this could make something so genius,